In this video, we are going to tell you everything you need to know about the new Trump accounts, which are basically an investment account that parents can set up for their children.
This year, every American child gets an investment account, and millions will be pre-funded. That's free money.
The government is giving $1,000 to families with new babies to kickstart these accounts. And even if your kids are up to 10 years old, it is still possible to get some money put in there by the government. The accounts are designed to set kids up for life. And in this video, we will tell you how to set up an account, how to get money from the government put in there, and what investment vehicles funds can be invested in, like ETFs or stocks or whatever, and also when kids can benefit from the funds. Hey credit warriors, welcome to the show. My name is Ben Hedges, aka the Credit Shifu, and on this channel, I cover US credit cards, personal finance, and luxury travel. If you like the sound of that, please subscribe, but let's get into it. So Trump accounts are investment accounts where parents can contribute up to $5,000 per year. Now you may assume that this is tax-free, like a Roth IRA, but no, you are contributing after-tax dollars. However, the benefit is that the money grows tax deferred. So if the account generates dividends or stocks are sold, that does not count as income for the beneficiary of the account, i.e. your child. This simplifies your taxes, since if you set up a taxable brokerage account for your kid, it is taxed if you create a taxable event, like a dividend distribution or stock sale, and you, the parent, have to pay the taxes on it. With the Trump account, you don't have to do that. In addition to the $5,000 you can put in per year, employers can contribute up to $2,500 tax-free to the accounts of employees' children, $2,500 for each child. So for people who run small businesses and pay themselves a W-2 salary in addition to the distributions from the company, okay? Think all the people who are lowering their taxes by using the S-Corp structure, okay? I'm talking to you. This is probably a way that you can make tax-free contributions to your own kid's Trump account. Instead of contributing in your own name, have your company contribute up to $2,500 per kid instead, and you won't pay tax on that money. There are actually 5 ways funds can be put into these accounts. The first 2 we've talked about, okay? That's the contributions from parents and others, all right? Family, friends, the beneficiary themselves. Then we have contributions from the employers, that's that up to $2,500 per kid. And then we have the pilot program to put $1,000 into the accounts of children born through calendar years 2025 to 2028 who are US citizens, okay? This is the government putting in the $1,000 that we talked about. You get that $1,000 deposited in the Trump account no later than July 2026 if you apply now. Then we have qualified general contributions. This is a provision for organizations such as US states to fund accounts. The Treasury will open up applications for states to fund accounts of children living within their borders after July 4th, 2026. I think this is a really great idea, and states with budget surpluses may well decide to make contributions. And it's a sort of thing that, you know, states can use to attract talent from other states to move there, all right? Let's say Texas starts funding Trump accounts. You know, people from California, I mean, they're already moving to Texas in droves, but, you know, people from other states may be like, let's move to Texas. I bet New York won't do this. They usually don't do anything good like this. Well, actually, they did do that inflation refund, all right? That was kind of cool. And this part is also where people with kids who were born outside of that 2025 to 2028 range can potentially get some money. Already, the Dell Foundation has announced a $6.25 billion contribution, all right, to give children aged 10 and under who live in zip codes where the average household income is under $150,000 a one-time sum of $250 to kickstart the account. So if your kids were just born, you could get $1,250, and if your kids are a bit older, you won't get the $1,000, but you could still qualify for the $250. The details of this $250 amount are not as finalized as with the $1,000 from the government, so we don't have an exact date when it will be deposited in your account yet. Then lastly, contributions can come from rolling over one Trump account into another. This is something for the future, really, since the accounts aren't even running yet, so we don't know what options are going to be out there, but presumably you'll be able to have these accounts with different banks and brokerages like Chase, Charles Schwab, etc., and you may want to switch your account from one bank to another, so that's just what that means. All right, let's now go through the rules of these Trump accounts. So like we said, you can contribute up to $5,000 per year. The money in the account will be invested in low-cost index funds with expense ratios of 0.1% or below. So it sounds like you can't self-manage, at least not for what they call the growth period until the child turns 18. You cannot access the funds either before the child turns 18, all right? You can't make distributions from the account except in very extreme circumstances. For example, the child who is the beneficiary of the account dies, okay? Like, what would be the point in keeping the account going? You might as well just take the money and whoever inherits it from them gets it, right? But basically, in most circumstances, no distributions before 18 years of age. But after 18, the account is then turned over to the beneficiary, right, to the child, and it then follows the same rules as a traditional IRA. Your kid can take contributions when they reach 59 and a half, and it will be taxed as ordinary income. Or you can withdraw earlier for specific life events like higher education, first home purchases, I believe some medical stuff, and not get hit with a penalty, all right? Any other early withdrawals will be hit with a 10% penalty like they are with a traditional IRA. All right, now let me give you my opinion on these accounts, and then I'll tell you how to get started. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed that the contributions by parents are not tax deductible, okay? Since you are basically getting double taxed at ordinary income rates. And there are some other types of accounts that may prove better for portions of the money that you are going to save for your children, okay? Like, for example, a 529 plan for education. But it is definitely worth setting up one of these accounts, all right, to get the $1,000 or the $250 if you're not eligible for the $1,000. And also, if your alternative was a taxable custodial brokerage account, then there is also an advantage here as well because you're not getting taxed on it as it grows. Another advantage may come if states decide to get involved and contribute for children living in their state, or if other companies and foundations like Dell decide to do something. I mean, Elon Musk has enough money to buy Greenland on paper. Obviously, we know he has no way to pull all that money out as cash. It would destroy those companies in the process. But, you know, hey, Elon, what about a cheeky $25 billion perhaps? That could give out $1,000 for each kid with the same requirements as the Dell Foundation's contribution. So I definitely think it is worth it for all parents to apply for these accounts, even if it's just to prepare for something that may happen in the future, okay? The Trump Accounts website has a whole section for corporations and philanthropists and will be accepting applications for donations. So how do you actually apply for a Trump account? Well, you can file the new IRS form 4547 and 4547. Literally, while I'm reading this, I finally get what that number means, okay? President 45 and 47, all right, Donald J. Trump. He would even put that in the form number, wouldn't he? All right, so you can file form 4547 when you file your taxes for 2025, okay? So that's the taxes that we're doing right now. We're currently filing taxes for the 2025 tax year, and this will set up the account. And if your kids fall within the required age range, you will get that $1,000 contribution before July 4th. July 4th, again, a very symbolic date. If you aren't in such a rush though, you can also open the account through an online portal that will be available in summer 2026, and you can visit trumpaccounts.gov for updates and to ultimately get the link to that portal or find out how to access your account with a financial institution if you opened it when you filed your taxes. Lastly, how much money can you accumulate in an account? Well, on trumpaccounts.gov, there are some estimates, and these are kind of a little bit exaggerated, all right? I'll tell you the math behind them in a moment, and I'll give you my own estimate, but let's just have a look at these first, okay? So at 18 years old, if you contribute nothing but the initial $1,000, you apparently will have $6,000 by age 18. If you contribute $250 per year, plus the initial $1,000, you'll have $19,000. And if you max it out at $5,000 per year, you'll have $271,000. Then they do the same math for 27-year-olds, contributing nothing but the initial $1,000. It's going to be $15,000 by 27. $250 a year, it gets to $51,000, and maxing it out at $5,000 per year, you hit $742,000. That must also include contributions by the beneficiary after it's turned into an IRA at 18 years old. Then there's also one more set of data for 55-year-olds. If you only contributed the initial $1,000, it reaches $243,000 by 55. If you contribute $250 a year, it hits $878,000. And if you max it out at $5,000 per year, you reach $13 million. Now, I'm not sure how they're getting that figure because I did the calculations at an 8% interest rate and I got about 4.6 million by age 55. And okay, I figured it out. It looks like they're doing this using a 10.5% interest rate, which is the returns of the S&P 500 over the long term since 1957 up till now per year, but it isn't accounting for inflation. So 13 million might be the actual figure that you would have in your account, but it might only be worth 4.6 million in today's dollars. But just be aware of that. And if you want to do the math yourself, I would suggest use an 8% or 7% return. Type in those figures, see what you get. If you put in just $250 per year plus the initial $1,000 at 55, you'll have about $298,000 per year using an 8% return. So it's kind of Trump exaggerating it, making it look a little bit more impressive than it is, but it's still not a bad deal. And you will actually have those figures in your account. Like if you really did max it out, you would have 13 million in your account. It just won't be worth as much in the future as it would have been today. Okay, it would only be worth like 4.6 million today. But hey, that's still a great amount of money. But anyway, guys, that's everything you need to know. And you can open a Trump account for your kids now when you file your taxes with that form 4547, all right, President 45 and 47. And if you're into investing, I really recommend the crypto exchange Gemini. Personally, I invest in Bitcoin through Gemini, and Bitcoin, despite having high volatility, has produced a way higher average return than the S&P 500 over the long run, all right? It's still going like 30% when you average it out, even now where it's not as volatile as it used to be. And since Bitcoin just dropped spectacularly from its all-time high, now it's actually a great time to buy and start accumulating Bitcoin before we have the next bull run with the 4-year cycle that'll probably happen around 2028. You can get $50 worth of the crypto of your choice, all right? Not just Bitcoin, but that's just the one I recommend, but $50 worth of the crypto of your choice when you sign up for Gemini using my link below and you trade just $100 worth of crypto. I also really like earning Bitcoin effortlessly on my daily spending with the Gemini credit card. It earns 4% back on gas in the crypto of your choice. Again, I choose Bitcoin and I just never sell it, all right? I want 13 million by age 55. I'll put a link for the Gemini credit card down below. This one also has a $200 welcome bonus and a few other bonus categories in addition to gas. Okay, guys, thanks for watching. That's the video for today. Please subscribe if you're new. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.